Alright everyone, Axel here for another video on Game of Thrones Kingsroad. In this one, I want to talk about how to farm the gear, where to start farming the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, because I know that many of you wanted to know how we can obtain some better tier on the gear, where to farm, and when to farm a better rarity on the gear. I want to talk about the endgame gear as well. I'm gonna talk about the set quickly and stuff like that, everything that I know in fact around the gear. So right before I'm getting into the content, if you want to support me as a content creator, you can find a link in the description of all my videos. Just need to click on the link, you will access that website on which you need to click on one button, and you are supporting me by doing that. Basically, you are gonna get some rewards such as Golden Dragon during the month and later as well, and every time you're gonna want to purchase something in the shop for cosmetics or for your progression, whatever you want to buy. You are not even forced to buy anything, by the way, because you can do the entire content with the 3 classes without spending anything in game. But if you want to do so, I'm gonna have a small percentage on your spendings, like 1% for now, because I have the bronze status, and later I will have 2%. It depends on the number of supporters I have on my channel. So thank you so much to everyone who wants to support me. Now it's time to talk about the real subject: how to farm gear. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is the map and the different regions in the game, because the more you progress, the higher is the tier on the gear you can obtain. And for that, to understand it better, you have that button in the bottom left corner on the map. If you click here, you can identify the different regions on the map. So here, for example, you have the first part of the gift, in which you can farm only tier 1 gear. Basically, you just need to go and check the camps you have, and here, if you click on that materials, you can craft a tier 1 only. So in that zone, the first part of the gift, you can get only tier 1 gear. Then you are going to reach the Winterfell in the north. So this is the first zone of the north, and here one more time you can farm only tier 1 gear everywhere in that zone. Then you will reach Dreadfort, and here you can start getting some tier 2. And for that, if I go on the camp here, you can get some crafting materials to craft a tier 2 gear. Still in the north, you have a third area here. This is White Harbor, right before reaching the second part of the gift. And here, one more time, you have only tier 2. Same for the second part of the gift. Here you will find only tier 2 gear. Just need to click on the camp, and here you can see that this is tier 2 only. And right after completing the gift, you are going to Old Town. In the south here, you get only tier 3. And in the north, you can start farming some tier 4. But basically, if you want to know what momentum you need, it's close to 50k momentum here in that zone if you want to start farming some tier 4. Still talking about the tier on the gear, I am at the moment on my secondary class. I want to talk about that because I feel like it's important. I cleared the entire content, main quests, side quests, and everything you have on the map with my main character, and I farmed some gear, I leveled up my jewels, and now I am on my secondary characters, and I have a lot of momentum, which means that I was able to reach that zone here and to start farming some tier 4 gear. Basically, if I show you the equipment I have on that character, you can save your jewels, use the jewels on all your characters, but not the gear. This is linked to the class here on the left. But you can also keep your artifacts, your house sigils and stuff like that. You just need to refarm your skill points and your trait trees and the equipment here on the left. So I can obtain some tier 4, tier 3, tier 4 by killing some enemies in the hideout without using my RP to claim the final reward, but generally it's not giving a set. I'm gonna talk about the sets later. So I am still lacking some power and momentum, and I need to farm the camps in that zone and the hideouts if I want to claim the rewards. For example, I'm pretty sure that I can find a camp here. I need to farm this one, it's a hidden, but I will get some tier 3 and some tier 4 materials so I can start crafting the final set for my character. By the way, when you are clearing a camp, you are not forced to claim the reward at the end, but if you are not doing that, just need to close that window, press Alt on PC, and you need to click on that button there to delete the reward. If you're not doing that, the camp is gonna remain here and it's never gonna reset. So you want the camp to reset if you want to restart that for farming gear by killing enemies, or just farming the XP by killing them. The camps are gonna respawn every hour. Still talking about the tier on your gear, there is something more that is very important to know about. You can't craft the tier if you don't have the level. For example, if I go here on the Messenger Raven, I'm gonna go on the craft equipment section. You have the filters there. I'm gonna unselect everything, and if I want to craft some tier 4 gear, let's say epic and for the marksman, here I just can't craft this one because this is locked to a specific level. I need to be level 28, so even if I have the materials, I can't craft the gear of that tier for that character. But if I have some that I can drop on the map, this is what I have on my character at the moment. If I show you, I have a tier 4 helmet and I have a tier 4 glove here. I was able to drop that through the completion of a camp or in a hideout after killing some people. Basically, you can craft the tier 1 directly at the start of the game, then you need to reach the level 13 if you want to start crafting some tier 2, then the level 22 for the tier 3 and the level 28 for the tier 4. Alright, now it's time to talk about the two different ways to acquire some better rarity on the gear. The first one being the dungeon in Winterfell, the Altar of Memories. So here, if I go there, if I enter the dungeon, you can enter the dungeons when you have the recommended momentum. So here it requires a 7.3k, here it requires 19k, here 34k, and for the last one, 63k. This one is way harder than the others because you have two different bosses during that fight. But you can be carried by another player if he has more power, more momentum. Sometimes they are pushing that content to try to have a better ranking, to get better rewards during the week. I'm gonna talk about that in another video. Every time you enter one of these dungeons, you can obtain one of these chests first, in which you can have a piece of gear from every single set you have in game, a legendary. If you are very lucky, it can happen. It never happened to me so far, but it happened to someone else. You can see what he dropped right here on the screen. That was a tier 4 legendary with a high roll. Amazing, and he dropped that on the last dungeon. So you have some chance to obtain some by farming these, so it can be interesting if you want to have better gear and if you don't know what to do with your RP. But you need to have in mind that most of the time you will have some green or blue or purples, but if you have a purple, this is already very nice. But then you need to be lucky to obtain the set you want, and you are not even forced to obtain one belonging to a set. As for these boots, for example, here. So it is very, very random. But you have also the wish reward here, and this is why generally people are farming that content. And this is the only gacha thing you have in the game, because every time you complete that content, you will have a spinner giving you a chance to obtain the wish reward here. Otherwise, you have a guarantee after 8 attempts. And it takes a lot of RP if you want to claim the reward, and you need to do that if you want to have a chance to get the wish reward. So this is not my favorite content to farm gear, especially endgame. I'm gonna talk about that right after, but if you are just unlocking that content, it can be interesting to do that, at least to get your purple weapon, so you will be able to kill enemies faster. But there is another way to farm some rarity on your gear, and it's not in the dungeon, but it's on the 4 ferocious beasts you have in game. So the first one is the one in the gift here. This is an elk, and you can start getting some purple pelt and a legendary pelt. These are used in crafting to get a legendary weapon. So this is very important, very interesting, but not on the first ones, because you are going to progress very fast and you are just going to waste your RP to get a legendary piece of gear. Do it only one time to claim the first time completion reward, so you will get one of these pelts and you can craft your purple weapon. It's going to help you to progress through the game. But once you have a 67k momentum, you can start farming this one. This is the bull, this is the last one, and here you can start farming your endgame gear. Purple before, if you are more lucky to obtain these, all legendary later. And the reason why I prefer doing that is that you can craft the set that you want. You can craft directly the weapon you want. So if you are lucky to obtain these because the rates are very, very low, then you can craft your endgame gear. So once you reach that, farm that. This is the best content to farm in my opinion. But there is another way to obtain some purple by farming the hideout. So you will get a purple helmet here when you claim the reward at the end from the 7th set, and you will get the gloves here. So it can be good to do that. You get also some materials to craft some jewels. The jewels are the best thing to increase your power in game in endgame, and you have a lot of experience, so these are also some good ways to farm the gear. Then there are two more things that I need to talk about. Still talking about the gear farming, you need to complete the collections and the set research, and for that the best things to do are the hideouts and the camps. You don't need to claim the reward at the end on the hideouts. You just need to kill the enemies. You will find some drop on the enemies in the chest, and same for the camps here, but it's great to obtain the crafting materials at the end so you can craft some gear from the different sets, and just by doing that you will complete your collection. You can claim a lot of copper here by doing that, and you have the set research as well. But first I want to talk about the research here. The stats you're getting on every set is given forever to all your characters, alright? You don't need to equip the set here, you just need to complete that and balance the stat between the different sets there if you want to have the extra stats and the extra momentum given by the stats here. The only thing you want to focus on first is to reach the level 20 here for the set of your choice. So once you do that, you can get the two effects of the sets of your choice here without the need to equip these equipments, alright? So you can have basically two sets on your character. You have the sets from the equipped gear you have on your character. So at the moment I have the Mauler, so you can check the sets here. I have these two effects on my character because I have the sets equipped, and I have also that second set here coming from my set research because this is the one I decided to equip on my character. So now let me quickly talk about the different sets and the different effects. I'm quickly gonna talk about the ones I prefer. I'm not gonna cover everything in that video since I haven't tried everything yet. So on my knight, I have two different sets that I love to play. The first one being the Sentinel. I already made a video talking about that before. So when you have the Sentinel, it's increasing your attack power and defense when you are defending, so when you are guarding, and when you are parrying successfully an attack. And this is very nice because the knight is working well with that. You have a skill, a repose stance. When you are using that, you just need to press the guard button and you can parry automatically every single attack you receive. So when you have the 5 sets here, you can also parry and guard the yellow attacks coming from the enemy. In fact, you can already parry the yellow attacks without having that, but you can guard the yellow attacks with that, and it works well. You don't need to have the perfect timing for that to work. So the Sentinel is great on that class, and paired with the Duelist, you will have more parry time, you will have more rage every time you parry, and you are also reducing the cooldown on your skills and increasing the damage of the parry links attacks. So this is an amazing set that I recommend to use on a knight if you want to progress through the story and the different quests, because you will find a lot of humans and so you can parry the attacks. But at the moment, I am using the Mauler set because two reasons. I'm getting more attack speed every time I'm using a skill, but I can't recover my rage during that effect. And when I have the 5 pieces on my character, I will get more damage on my light attacks and my heavy attacks during combos. And with that, I'm currently using the Savant, so after using a skill, I'm not only getting the attack speed increase and the damage increase with my combos, but it's also increasing my attack power. A rage gain is useless because I can't gain more rage during that effect thanks to the Mauler. And I also have more damage with the active skills. And when I kill enemies, I can reduce even more the cooldowns on my skills. But there is another set that I recommend to use, the Champion set. If you're not getting hit, you can increase by a lot your attack power, the more the hits you do on the target. And it's also increasing the crit rate and crit damage over time, and the enemies can't counter your light attacks and strike combos. So then there is one more thing I need to talk about, the reforged effect. You can reforge 1 time your blue gear, 2 times the purples, and 3 times the legendaries. By reforging your gear, you can have different effects. First of all, you have the skill trait, so it's gonna enhance one of your skills. You have the rates here. This is the only place in the game where we can see the rates, by the way. I don't know why, normally it should be mandatory to show the rates everywhere, whatever. Here, random effects, you can have some more defense increase rates, HP, or some more attack and crit rate, crit damage. And if you want to reforge, you need to go in that section here, reforge equipment, and you need to have 2 weapons or 2 gear with the same rarity and the same tier. You don't care about the set. And by the way, if you're not satisfied with the effects you have on your gear here, there is a way to recast the effects, but for that you need a specific potion that you can acquire for free in-game by doing some activities, and mainly in the rankings here. You can have some, if I'm not mistaken, in the Altar of Memories, depending on the ranking you have during the week. It's the weekly reward that you can claim. And you can participate here, whatever your power, just into matchmaking with a very strong player. This is what they are doing during the week. And even if you don't have a high power, you can be in the top ranking if someone is carrying you. And you can get a bunch of these. You can use them to recast the effects on your weapon and gear. Alright guys, I think that I covered everything. If I missed something, please let me know in the comment below. If you enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to hit the like button. Share the video with your friends if you found it useful. Have a really nice day guys. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.